Whoa, what just happened in that last chapter? When we left Marty, he was facing Judd, who had just shot a deer that was out of season. It was not a legal time to shoot deer, to hunt deer. And now Marty is facing Judd Travers, who happens to be holding a gun. What could possibly happen? Chapter 14 can be found on page 113. Let's just get right into it. I am dying here. He's wearing his army camouflage shirt, a brown cap, and the weirdest grin that could fit on a human face. Hoo-wee! He says, holding the rifle up with one hand as he plows through the woods, or through the weeds, rather. I got her! Woo-wee! I know he wasn't out shooting rabbits and happened to get a doe instead because he doesn't have his hounds with him. Judd Travers had gone out that morning with the clear intention of getting himself a deer. I also know that if the game warden finds out about it, Judd's in big trouble because the deer he shot out of season wasn't even a buck. He slogs over through waist-high weeds to where the doe lies. Bending over, he looks at her, walks around her little piece, and says, "Ooh-wee," again, all soft-like. That's when I come out of the woods. He's got his back to me now, his hands on the doe's front legs, trying to see if he can pull her himself. Drags her a little way, then stops. And when he looks up again, I'm right beside him. He whirls around. "Where'd you come from?" he says. "I was on my way over to see you," I tell him. And for the first time standing next to Judd Travers, I feel taller than I really am. He looks at me a moment like he don't know if he's glad I'm there or not. Then I guess he figures me being there, only a kid, don't matter. "Well, look what I got," he says. "Found her eating my garden this morning and I chased her over here." "Well, that's a lie," I say. "I was back in the woods watching her eat. She was coming down from the hill the other way. You went out deer hunting for anything you could get." "Well, supposing I did," says Judd Travers, and he hates me worse than snot. "Deer ain't in season, that's what," I answer. "There's a $200 fine for killing a doe." Judd Travers is staring at me like he's about to crack me across the mouth. Way we're raised around here, children don't talk back to grown folks. Well, don't hardly talk much at all, in fact. Learn to listen, keep your mouth shut, let the grown folks do the talking. And here I am, shooting off my mouth at 5:30 in the morning to a man holding a rifle. Am I crazy or what? "Not unless the game warden finds out there's not," Judd says. "And who's gonna tell him? You?" All at once, I realize I got Judd Travers right where I want him. One way you look at it, it's my duty to report a killed doe. The way folks up here look at it, though, that's snitching. And if I could tell, but bargain not to, well, it's something else again. It's blackmail. But like I said, I'd got to the place I'd do most anything to save Shiloh. "Yeah," I say, my heart pounding like crazy. "I'll tell. There's a free number to call." And there is, too. It's on Dad's hunting regulation papers. Boy, I sure didn't know I was going to step into all this when I come up here this morning. Now Judd's looking at me good, his eyes narrowed to little slits. "Your pa put you up to this." "No, this is me talking." "Well, ain't you something now? And who's to believe you?" "Well, I'll get the game warden up here. Show him the spot that the doe was hit, the blood, and when he finds the deer at your place, well, he'll believe me." The words are coming out quicker than I can think almost. "Huh, well, I'll just tell him he was eating my garden." "Yeah, and I'll say different. The new game warden won't make any allowance, even if the deer was eating your garden. You don't just shoot deer out of season, no way, especially a doe." Now Judd's really angry, and his words come out like bees. "What you trying to do, boy? Start up trouble? You think I can't put you in your place mighty quick?" "So what you gonna do?" I say. "Shoot me?" Travers is so surprised that his jaw drops. Oh, but I'm cooking now. Nothing can stop me. Braver than I ever been in my whole life. You gonna shoot me like that dog I found up here 6 months back with a bullet in its head? Travers stares at me some more. I know whose bullet that was, Judd, and I told Dad. And if folks find me up here with a bullet in me, Dad'll know whose bullet that is too. I can't hardly believe the words that's coming out of my mouth. Been scared most of my life of Judd Travers, and here I am, half his size, talking like a grown person. It's because I know Shiloh's still got a chance. So what are you waiting for? Judd says finally. Go get the game warden. And when I don't move, he says, Oh, come off it, Marty. Here, you take one of them legs and I'll take the other. We'll drag it to my place and I'll give you half the meat. And don't tell me your ma won't be glad to get it. I don't want the meat. I want Shiloh. Now Judd's really surprised and whistles through his teeth. Ooh, boy, you just come up here to set me up, didn't you? Didn't have an idea in this world you'd be out with your rifle, I tell him, and that's one of the first truths I'd told in 2 weeks. I come up here because it's Sunday, the day you said to bring your dog back, and I wanted you to know you got to fight me first to get him. Now I'm telling you I mean to keep him, and you expect to keep that deer without a fine, you'll make the trade. Whoa, said Travers. That's no kind of trade at all. If I hadn't got me a deer this morning, what would you have bargained with then? Well, I didn't have an answer to that because I hadn't been thinking about a deal. Judd had already said he wouldn't sell Shiloh. Judd's eyes narrowed down even more until it almost looked like he was asleep. I just bet you would tell the game warden, wouldn't you? In Jesus' name I would. And you're saying if I let you keep my hunting dog, you're going to keep this deer a secret? I begin to see now I'm no better than Judd Travers, willing to look the other way to get something I want. But the something is Shiloh. Yes, I will, I tell him, not feeling all that great about it. Well, you got to do more than that, boy, because I paid $35 for that dog, and I want $40 to let him go. For the first time, I see a thin ray of hope that maybe he'll let me buy Shiloh. I'll get you the money somehow by and by, I promise. I don't want the money by and by. I want it now. And if you haven't got it now, you work for me and pay it off. You make a deal with Judd Travers and you're only 11 years old, and you take what you can get. But all I'm thinking is, dog. You got a bargain, I tell Judd, and now my feet want to dance. My face wants to smile, but I don't dare let the delight show through. You listen here, said Judd. I'll pay you $2 an hour, and that comes to 20 hours to earn $40, and the work ain't easy. I'll do it, I say. Beginning now, said Judd, and I can tell he's getting a bit edgy that someone else might come through the field wondering about those rifle shots and see how he got a doe. Help me get this deer to my trailer. I'm so glad to be getting Shiloh I can hardly think straight. But I'm thinking straight enough as I help drag that doe to Judd's to know that by letting him get away with this, I'm putting another deer in danger. He killed this one out of season. He'll figure maybe he can kill some more. To save Shiloh, I'm making it harder for deer. I swallow. All I got to do, though, is think of the way he'd look at me if I ever gave him back to Judd, and then I just get on with the job. When we get to the trailer at last, we carry the deer around to the 3-sided shed Judd's got in his backyard. First thing Judd does is bleed the doe, keeps the meat from spoiling. Then he goes out and messes up the tracks with his foot, kicking up the grass where we'd matted it down and covering the trail of blood with dust. I get home from work every day at 3, Judd said, and I want you here when I pull up. You work for me 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I want that wood in the back there stacked. I want the weeds cut and the grass mowed. I want my beans picked and the corn hoed. Whatever I think to be done, well, that's what you do. And I want you here starting tomorrow. I'll be here, I says, but I want it in writing that after I do 20 hours of work for you, that Shiloh belongs to me. Travers grunts and goes in his trailer. He comes out with a piece of grocery sack and the words, Beagle Hunting Dog to Marty Preston for 20 hours work. J. Travers. Well, it occurs to me suddenly that maybe after I do all the work, he'll try to pay me off with one of his other dogs. Right, Shiloh, I tell him. He gives me a pained look and crosses out Beagle, writes Shiloh in his place. But he don't spell it right. He leaves the H off at the end. I take the paper and put it in my pocket. I'll be here tomorrow, I say. And if you ever tell anyone about this dear boy, you're going to be more'n sorry you ever opened your lips. You got my word, I say, which, considering all the lying I've been doing lately, didn't seem like it amounted to much. It did, though. I walk away from Judd's trailer in sort of a zigzag line, half expecting a bullet in my back any moment, even though I'm pretty sure he wouldn't. Soon as I'm out of sight, though, I race through the woods, heart going thumpity-thump. I can't keep that smile back no longer. Shiloh's mine. The words keep coming back again and again. He's safe. Should feel even more joyful, though. Thought once if I could just get Shiloh for my own, it would be the finest day of my life. In a way it is, in a way it isn't. Could be Judd gave in because he couldn't think of nothing else at the moment to do. Said I could have Shiloh just because he needed some help with that deer. Could be that once he got rid of the evidence, he'd tell me to go ahead and get the warden, that I wasn't to have the dog. Could even say that he never even wrote that on the grocery sack, that I'd wrote it myself. I don't think so, though. What worries me most is that Judd could go through with the bargain, give Shiloh to me, but someday, when Shiloh's running free in the woods by himself, Judd might put a bullet in his head just to spite me. Wow. Well, he's struck a deal, hasn't he? He's struck a deal with Judd Travers. And now he's about to earn that $40 by doing work around Judd's place. Do you think Judd is going to go through with this bargain, with this deal? Do you think he's going to back out? Will Marty get Shiloh? The only way we could find out is by reading this final chapter. This next chapter is the last chapter in the book. Can you believe it? I don't want this story to end. Although I really do want to know that Shiloh is going to stay at home with Marty and his family. Will you join me over at chapter 15 now? I'll see you there. Happy reading, guys.